All right, let's talk about a household disaster that's way more common than fire, but can be every bit as destructive. It can start with just a tiny drip, and before you know it, your world is turned upside down. We're talking about water damage. And today, we're going to break down how to go from that moment of sheer panic to being completely prepared. So, I've got a quick question for you. When you think about all the things that can go wrong in a house, what do you figure is the number one reason people have to file an insurance claim? Just take a guess. It's probably not what you're thinking.
Yep, it's water. Seems harmless, right? But when water gets where it isn't supposed to be, it becomes one of the most powerful and destructive forces your home will ever face. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the playbook for what to do when it happens.
So let's dive right in. First up, the unwanted guest. We're going to look at just how fast a tiny, seemingly insignificant leak can spiral out of control into a massive problem. I want you to picture it. You hear a weird noise. Maybe you're walking down to the basement, and your stomach just drops. There's water everywhere. That feeling of absolute panic is so real, and what you choose to do in those very first few moments is absolutely crucial. But it's not always some big, dramatic flood. A lot of the time, water is sneaky. It's that paint that's starting to bubble up, or a musty smell you just can't track down. Maybe your wood floors are starting to warp just a little. These are all water's little calling cards, basically silent alarms that it's hiding somewhere it shouldn't be. Okay, section 2, the science of a spill. Now, this is super important. Once water is discovered, the first question a professional is going to ask is, what kind of water are we dealing with? Because, and you might not realize this, not all water is created equal. The answer to that question changes everything. First, you've got Category 1 water. Just think of this as clean water. It's coming from a broken water supply line, an overflowing bathtub, something like that. Now, it'll still cause a ton of damage, but the water itself isn't an immediate health hazard. Then we move up to Category 2, which is called gray water. This is where things start getting a little risky. This is water from, say, your washing machine or a dishwasher. It's got detergents and other contaminants in it that can make you sick if you come in contact with it. And finally, we have the most serious one, Category 3 or black water. This is the really dangerous stuff. We're talking about raw sewage or floodwater that's come in from the outside. It is grossly contaminated, packed with pathogens, a serious biohazard that you should never ever try to handle yourself. So as you can see, there's a direct line from where the water came from to how big of a health risk it is. And that's exactly why identifying the category is job number 1 for any professional. It dictates the safety gear, the equipment, and the entire cleanup plan. All right, Section 3 is all about racing against the clock. The second that water shows up, a stopwatch starts. You are in a race, and believe me, your first moves can be the difference between a manageable repair and a catastrophic, bank-breaking one. And here is the number that should be burned into your brain, 24 to 48. That's it. That's the number of hours before mold can start to grow. And once mold joins the party, your water problem has just turned into a much more complex, hazardous, and expensive mold problem. So if you ever find yourself in this situation, here is your emergency playbook. 1. If it's safe to do so, find the main water shutoff and turn it off. Stop the bleeding. 2. Get your valuables out. Move furniture, electronics, anything you can to a dry spot. 3. Become a crime scene investigator. Pull out your phone and take pictures and videos of everything. And 4. Call for backup. This is not a DIY job. Get a professional on the phone stat. So, you've made the call. What happens when the cavalry arrives? Let's get into the professional playbook. Because what they do is a systematic, science-based process designed to truly save your property from long-term damage. A good crew should be at your door within about an hour, hour and a half. Day 1 is all about one thing, getting the standing water out. But the real work, the science, happens over the next few days. That's the structural drying phase. It's a meticulous process of monitoring and can't be rushed. Only when everything is proven to be dry can the rebuilding even start. And look, this isn't about bringing in a few towels. We're talking about professionals using thermal imaging cameras to actually see moisture hidden inside your walls. They use powerful, truck-mounted extractors to pull out the water, then set up an army of industrial-grade air movers and dehumidifiers. They basically create a vortex of dry air to pull that moisture out of the very bones of your house. Okay, so now we know how to react in a crisis. But you know what's way better than having a great crisis plan? It's making sure the crisis never happens to begin with. Let's talk prevention. Let's start with a few simple things inside your home. See those rubber hoses on your washing machine? They have a shelf life. Swap them out every 5 years. Know how old your water heater is. They're only built to last about 8 to 12 years before they can fail in a big way. And if you have a sump pump, test it every quarter. These little checks can prevent an absolute nightmare. And what you do outside is just as important. Clogged gutters are one of the biggest causes of basement leaks. They just dump rainwater right next to your foundation. And speaking of which, take a look at the soil around your house. Does it slope away from the foundation? It has to. These are simple weekend chores that protect your entire investment. You know, when it all boils down, it's pretty simple. An hour of your time doing maintenance and maybe a few bucks for a new hose can save you weeks of chaos and a bill that could have thousands of dollars on it. The return on investment for preventing water damage is just massive. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. After hearing all this, I want you to go take a walk around your house, but this time, look at it with new eyes. Look at that old water heater, that little discolored spot on the ceiling, those gutters you've been meaning to clean, because your home's biggest threat could be hiding right there, in plain sight, just waiting for you to find it before it finds you.